For the final time this year, hi friends of cocktails. I'm sure we are all excited to leave 2020 in the rearview mirror and that we have high hopes for 2021. After 30 episodes of Cocktail Time, making 2 versions of the champagne cocktail is a way for us to send you off into the next year in style. And you'll want to watch this episode until the end, because we have a little surprise for everyone that has seen our videos before. But before we get to that, I'd like to say thank you. Yes, you, people watching these videos, leaving great comments and questions, and coming back week after week. Your feedback helps drive this whole project forward. Like a lot of people around the world, I was left without a job. Twice. But I will always remember 2020, by the start of this channel and the community that has grown around Cocktail Time. I hope you were also able to find something positive about this year and the whole situation we found ourselves in. It's almost time for 2021, but first, it's Cocktail Time. So it's New Year's Eve, and even if you can attend or host any large parties, champagne is in order. Today, we're using Bollinger Special Cuvée Brut. It was first produced in 1911, thanks to the suggestion of the Bollinger family's British agent, who also gave them the idea for the name, Special, written the English way, rather than the French expression, Brut sans année, as typical for champagnes made out of reserve wines of different years. This champagne is the result of blending harvest grapes and reserve wines, including some aged in magnums for up to 15 years in Bollinger cellars. Best service temperature is just around 10 degrees Celsius or 50 Fahrenheit. This will be great in both of our cocktails, because it's not too sweet. And as we know, the term cocktail originally meant a mixed drink with bitters, sugar, spirit and water. Champagne isn't a spirit, so we can leave the water part out because of the low ABV content. Let's start making the original champagne cocktail. We'll build the cocktail in a glass, but the first step is to soak a sugar cube with bitters. Place a cube of plain sugar on a napkin, which will soak up the excess bitters. We're of course using Angostura bitters. A couple of dashes should be enough. This sugar bitters mixture will give the cocktail a nice bittersweet evolution as you drink it, but it's also there to create bubbles as the sugar cube dissolves. Place it in a well-chilled glass, taken straight from the freezer. There's no ice in this drink, which is different from the recipes written by Jerry Thomas in his 1862 and 1887 versions of the first cocktail book, The Bartender's Guide. A well-chilled glass and champagne will be enough. Slowly pour the champagne down the inside of the glass while holding it at an angle, so you create as little bubbling as possible. We want the bubbles to enrich the drinking experience of a champagne cocktail. For garnish, we'll express the citrus oil from a lemon peel to add some freshness, and we'll discard the twist after doing so. You could almost say that this cocktail has a garnish on the inside. Before we try it, cheers to a crazy year gone by. The citrusy aroma is quickly taken over by the sensation of this wonderful champagne hitting your palate with subtle fruity notes. Together with the addition of the bitters and the extra bubbles coming from the sugar, the cocktail is fresh, lively, savory and elegant. And while this simple champagne cocktail isn't as complex as a French 75 cocktail, it still adds another layer to a celebratory champagne, which makes it a perfect choice for a special occasion. But just to make sure 2021 greets us with a nicer welcome than what we've got from 2020, we'll make an improved champagne cocktail with the addition of cognac. For the second cocktail, we're again soaking a sugar cube with bitters before adding it to a well-chilled champagne flute, but this time we're using a more flavorful Demerara sugar. This less processed version of sugar will pair really nicely with cognac. And since this cocktail really comes into its own when you're using quality ingredients, we'll use the Le Mans XO Vesper Cognac. For this occasion, place the cognac in the fridge or even the freezer, so you'll end up with a nicely chilled cocktail without any ice. If you enjoy this cocktail but also like to sip on cognac on its own, you might want to consider getting a small decanter and storing part of your cognac permanently in the fridge. we'll use the same champagne, since it's always a good idea to use up an open bottle ASAP, even with the reusable champagne stoppers. And with a good champagne like this, that shouldn't be too hard. Again, top up the cocktail and prepare a citrus garnish. But this time we were using an orange peel. The express essential oils will be a bit sweeter than the fresh and tart lemon. Again, discard the peel and that's it. And here's an improved champagne cocktail for a new year, full of possibilities for growth, hope, dreams and ambitions. And mostly, health. Cheers! The aroma of the expressed orange complements both the cognac and the champagne in a great way. This cocktail has more body and complexity than the original, and it truly is a celebration in a flute glass. Slowly, the bittersweet component from the bottom of the glass will start to emerge to the foreground of the flavor profile, with the Demerara subtle caramel-like notes pairing nicely with the cognac. You really can't go wrong when mixing cognac and champagne, and this simple cocktail is a perfect way to step into the new year. Whichever version you decided to make, enjoy it with the ones closest to you. And make this a New Year's Eve you'll always remember. If 2020 was a year of learning, let 2021 be a year of growing. We learned a lot with every video we made. I hope you learned a thing or two as well.
And we read every comment you left on these videos. Thank you to the wonderful community that is growing every week.
We can't wait for you to see what we've got in store for 2021.
I see you all next week.
Happy New Year, everybody!
Champagne isn't a spirit, so we can leave the water part out because of the low ABV content. And you want
Happy New Year, everybody! Happy New Year, everybody! Happy New Year, everybody!
This is the end of the video. If you want to see more cocktail recipes and more bloopers, check this out. And think about subscribing. Thanks for watching.